Hello and welcome to the Global Star Party, and that intro was a little better than me humming like last time round. Welcome to the show, folks, where we will be streaming live views of things in space, and we've actually got fighting the clouds today. We have live sun, we have live globular clusters. I think we've even got live meteorites. So this is going to be pretty good. So welcome to the show. If you're wondering what you're watching, this is a weekly hangout where a group of amateur astronomers all gather together, plug in their telescopes, and stream views of whatever we can find between the clouds. This is an interactive show, so you can join us via the Q&A app, which you can click somewhere on the bottom of your screen if you're watching on the event page or on YouTube. Click on that, and you can ask us questions, make requests, or just generally say hi. We have a load of people joining us tonight. This is the Eastern Nighttime edition, so mostly dark views from Australia. And talking of Australia, I am also joined by my co-host, who has returned from his wanderings and ramblings in the desert.
How are you, everybody? My name is Dylan O'Donnell. I'm an amateur astronomer from Byron Bay in New South Wales. I've just come back from Western Australia, where I was on assignment. I've never been on a photographic assignment before, but I was on assignment for the European Space Agency to take photos of DSA-1, their deep space tracking station in New Norcia. I can probably speak a little bit about that if we get time, but we do have several live feeds, so we might not get time. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, I know, right? We're getting live. The clouds have kind of, well, they've attacked me today, but that's another story. We are joined by, I am going to go to Paul here, who has currently got an incredibly wide field view of his night sky. Evening, Paul.
Evening all.
So I'm from this view, it's looking good. You're able to bring us some live deep sky.
Yes, the clouds have decided to go away for the night.
Yay! Sacrificing that goat work then this time round. So welcome Paul from New Zealand, who has got a nice view of the Milky Way there and constellations I can't recognise. We also have joining us from Cornwall, Grant, who is the sun right now. In fact, look at this, live sun. Hello, Grant.
Good morning, people.
Yeah,
I will just connect there. I'm doing well. Hope everybody's well today. Nice clear skies here today, Chris.
Awesome. I'm glad you've got some clear skies. I was looking at that earlier. I got some views, and then it got cloudy, just because I bought some astronomy gear. It's my curse. And also joining us, we have Andrew.
Good evening. I'm shooting from Adelaide, South Australia at the moment. We've got clear skies at the moment, so I've got a few little objects to show you tonight. And I'm joined tonight by Ian McLeod.
Hello.
And he's going to show us some meteorites and maybe talk about them as well. So we're
Awesome.
looking
Glad to have you on.
for a good show.
Excellent. Hey, it finally worked. So, if you're still wondering what's going on, you can follow us on Twitter at Global Star Party. We watch that. We tweet out lots of stuff. We have a Flickr group, which I should be sharing some pictures of later on. But we've got live, and I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to kind of combat the clouds. And I'm going to click on Grant because, well, clouds in the UK are horrific. So look at that. Live.
Yeah, last night was fantastic here as well, guys, but we've got, the sun was really active yesterday. There was a broadcast going on, and I'm glad it's quite active today as well, people. So I'll scan round during the hour, Chris, and see what else there is on there.
We've got a lovely set of prominences coming off the edge of the sun there. These are huge. For a sense of scale, that is probably, looking at that, 120,000 kilometers high, roughly, I would say. Yeah, it's got to be about 100,000
There was one yesterday, it was about 350,000. It was a huge flare.
Well, I didn't get to see that because British summer and clouds. So we are looking at the sun live. Now, Grant, because I was looking earlier, I know on the opposite side of that, and almost even height, there is a lifting prom. So if you're able to pan around and find that, that would be awesome. Got some sunspots in the middle there, and oh, nice active region there. Check it out. See, look at this live plasma ball of death. Now it's quite a faint lifting prom, so I'm assuming that it's going to be one of those kind of up the exposure ridiculously, but somewhere on the other edge is a lifting prom. So Grant, no pressure, but I'm going to let you try and find that. Give us a holler when you do, and I'm going to check out some other live views whilst you're at it. So I suppose really, Dylan has one of these other squiffy things that we can kind of give random names, but I believe this one's meant to be the Swan.
Yeah, this is Omega Nebula, or the Swan Nebula. It's around that sort of lagoon Trifid area in the very thick, dense part of the galactic core, which is the areas that they'll be searching for intelligent life and non-random radio waves using the Parkes telescope, funded by billionaires because our government doesn't give us money for science anymore. But yes, this is the Omega Nebula. I've never actually imaged it before, so this is a first for me. I just got the scope set up in time, and it's just pulling down 5-minute exposures now. And this is one of those 5-minute exposures just coming in. It says downloading down the bottom here, so it's just finished. And oh no, there it is. It's 40%, 41. It's doing an automatic. Sorry, it's not automatic stretch, but I can pull this stretch down, and you can see the brightness levels change. Later on, when I go and stack all these together, I'll get that high dynamic range into it and play with it a bit. But just for the live show, I'll just bring it up sort of a little bit more than you would normally, just so you can see it. But you can see how it blows out that middle part of the emission nebula quite a lot. It's fairly bright, really.
It's really, really beautiful. So this is a live view, folks. I mean, obviously, as live as the exposure takes to gather. So what exposure length are you using on this one?
So this one's 5 minutes, and I'm doing a run of 10 of them at the moment, but I'm already up to 7, so I'll probably zip around and try and find something else for you after this.
Awesome. Well, we should come back and check it out. So, no pressure, but I'm going to be like, hey, find this, find that, find this.
Sure.
And Paul, now obviously this isn't live because, well, that's moving really quickly otherwise and looping backwards and forwards. So what are we looking at here, Paul?
Semi-live. Taking this over the last 45 minutes of Comet C 2013 US-10 Catalina.
That's a nice, easily memorizable name. Awesome. That is. I mean, Paul, you always kind of, you're just a show off, really. It's awesome. So how did you get this? Tell us, how did you bring this to the show?
I've just been taking 120-second exposures over the last 3/4 of an hour, and I've just put them into a nice little animation.
And you're going to also tell me that I'm noticing there's pretty much no drift in your stars at all, so your tracking is really, really good.
And it's all been nicely aligned on the stars.
That is really, really nice. I mean, obviously comets at the moment I mean, it's been the year of Pluto, but it's been also the year of Rosetta and comet, I'm just going to say P something or other. 67? Is it 67 or 57? Yeah. Cherry Menke Doobie Doobie Dov. I can't pronounce that one. I don't think anyone can. I think everyone's just kind of gone into shortcut mode for that one, but that is lovely. I mean, comets are these wonderful things that are, oh, I suppose dirty snowballs flying through space. But is this is this on its way to, I mean, is this coming away from the sun or is this heading towards it at the moment? Do we know much about this comet?
I couldn't tell you that at the stage.
Trust me to ask the awkward questions. Now I am going to check out Andrew's view, and Andrew, when it loads on my end, because it's, there we go. I don't recognize it, but it's a nebula.
Yeah, this is the Eagle Nebula.
Nice. I can see the eagle and the red, white, and blue in the background. No, I really can't. It's a really nice nebula, though. So how did you get this one, and whereabouts in the sky is this?
Well, I'm shooting from my backyard at the moment through an 8-inch f4 telescope with a Canon 1100D. And doing 120 exposures. It's ISO 1600 for those that work with DSLRs, know all about that. And now that I've got a light pollution filter, I can see nebulas a little bit better now.
Nice. Light pollution, the bane of any astrophotographer that's near any kind of urban settlement, really. Unless you just move to the desert. That'd be nice. Actually, yeah, I've decided that we're all going to pack up and move to the Atacama Desert and build an observatory there. Slightly James Bond kind of villain based too, I'm thinking. Just in terms of styling, anyhow. But that's a lovely nebula. So it's got some dark patches in the centre there as well. So obviously it's got some dust hanging around in the middle there.
Yeah, you can see the pillars of creation around there. I don't know whether you can see. Well, hang on, I'll.
Actually, I can. Now I'm tilting my head. I can actually see them, yeah.
There's the pillars of creation there.
Nice. Nice. The pillars of creation, made famous, of course, by Hubble's beautiful narrowband image, but also equally spectacular to see from an SLR. Brought to you live as well, folks. I mean, this is, again, the wonders of technology. I'm just looking at Q&A here. Rich is asking a question here, which I shall field to the peanut gallery. Is there a calculation to determine your capture session, or do you spend as much time as you may?
I would say it's different for each object. Some of the objects, and particularly with my setup with the Hyperstar, it's quite fast. If you go 5 minutes on Orion or M8, they really blow out. You actually overdo the object. So it really depends on what you're doing. Most stuff, though, generally is pretty dim. So, you know, if you can do 10 minutes, if you can do 20 minutes, then definitely do that. But there's also the other technique that people do is the short, lots of short ones. So I've seen people do things like the dumbbell nebula in just 2-second or 5-second runs and just do loads of them. And that works as well, but it's not the same as doing a long exposure. So you're not going to get the same level of detail, but you do get a really clean image that you can pull. You can push it a little bit further and pull that brightness out of it. So there's two ways to skin a cat, but definitely you try and generally go as long as you can without as long as your equipment can do without blowing up the object.
I was going to say, I mean, it's yeah, you try to get. I mean, from my point of view, I try to get as much data as physically possible, given clouds, weather conditions, and in terms of exposure length, it's some of the brighter nebula are easy to blow out, but yeah, I think you fielded that one pretty well, Dylan. I'm going to leave it at that before I I ruin all that wonderful information. And also, Matt Woods on the Q&A has told me that Emily, I can't actually pronounce her last name because I'm terrible at pronouncing things, from the Planetary Society, calls the comet 67P Kuriguri. I like that. It's a lot easier. That is a lot easier. Now, whilst what have we got here? Now, Paul, first of all, is that live? And second of all, what on earth is that?
This is the Tarantula Nebula in the Large Magellanic Cloud.
Wow. That looks really sinister. That is really awesome. I like that. So, how long was the exposure length to get this? I like that.
This is 30 seconds each of red, green, and blue.
Whoa. So that's a really bright nebula, or you just really have no light pollution whatsoever?
Oh, it's reasonably bright.
Now, you may hear some cheeping, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that's coming from Keith, who has just joined us. He's new to the whole thing, but he should be bringing us live moon. So I'm going to let Keith do his thing, but I am going to mute you, Keith, whilst the cheeping is happening. Or it may not be Keith. Oh, there it is. There we go. Right. Cheeping away. Grant is currently away from keyboard, so but he's still bringing us live sun. Now I am going to skip over to Andrew, and I'm going to go, Andrew, live meteorites.
Live meteorites. Hang on, you caught me off guard here. Okay, I'll hand it over to Ian, and he can talk to you through it.
Hi guys, I brought in a couple of meteorites to show you. Here's one that was found in northwest Africa. You can see it's got a nice black crust on it. Quite often the meteorites which are found out there can be tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years old terrestrial age. But this one here, its actual age itself would be around 4.5 billion years old. So that's some of the oldest material in the solar system. So, and that's from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
The age of that, that's wonderful.
Yeah, they're very, very old. So if you slice them quite often in a normal chondrite, you'll see little spheres. They're called chondrules. Those are the basically little melt droplets that have accreted together and form some meteorites. And then after a while, you get more and more mass that combines together, and you eventually get small asteroids, larger asteroids, and if you're lucky, you'll get a really big asteroid that will melt even further. It will differentiate, and you'll end up with an iron core, similar to what you'd have in the center of the Earth. That will cool down, and then you'll get an iron meteorite like Andrew has. If you can see this, that's a core from a differentiated asteroid. So you can see the pattern there. That's caused by the different cooling rates of nickel iron alloys inside of the meteorite.
That is, I'm sorry, just we've had lots of different live things in the show, but live meteorites is pretty epic, I'm gonna have to say.
Yeah,
that's great.
The funny thing is, most of these things come from eBay.
that was actually going to be my next question. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to bring live meteorites to the show, get shopping on eBay.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
If I can plug a seller, see Big Kahuna on eBay, run by Gary Fujihara in Hawaii. He's an excellent seller, and he sells the real deal. So.
How do you verify that it is the real deal? Do you get like a certificate of authenticity, or is there some way to test?
Yeah, you can. It's recommended to buy from IMCA dealers, which are the International Meteorite Collector Association dealers. Basically, if they're caught selling unreal meteorites and they can't come up with a reasonable excuse why they sold a fake meteorite, they're basically booted out of the organization. So they usually have, they're very reliable. So yeah, I personally would go through an IMCA dealer, or if you it's good just to go on Google and just type in to get a general look and see what a meteorite should look like, and then basically just start off with the basic sort of meteorites if you want to collect. Look at chondrites, and if a deal seems too good to be true, then it's against the current market sort of price, and it seems too cheap, then it usually is a fake meteorite. So that's the
I think the hot item of the moment is that meteorite that landed in Russia that all the dash cams picked up, and we saw that beautiful streak across the sky, and that's they're selling like hotcakes at the moment, I believe.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the Chelyabinsk meteorite is a big seller. Any sort of witnessed fall demands a higher price. Being such a massive fireball and well known and well seen and well recorded, it's probably the best recorded fireball in history. It makes it a hot item for sure.
No pun intended there, right?
Yeah. A lot of people think that meteorites are hot when they actually reach the ground, but because of the there's even stories of this. Maybe in one or two cases that the meteorites might have been warm, but because the meteorites, when they're entering the atmosphere, heat up, they sweat off most of the heat. So the cores of the meteorite itself are generally cold, or just like normal room temperature. So yeah, they're hot property, but yeah. If you ever see a seller trying to sell a meteorite as a story saying that the meteorite was burning hot when it landed on the ground and they touched it and it burnt their hands, I probably wouldn't buy it.
Ah, fantastic. I've never really considered. Oh gosh, this hobby gets more and more expensive.
It does.
Yeah.
It gets yeah, adds up.
Well, that's fantastic. Will you be able to take some photos, if you don't already, of those meteorites and put them on the event page for everyone to check out later, just to have a look at them?
No, certainly, yeah, no worries.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for bringing those along. That is brilliant.
No
I
worries.
was going to say, of course, we've got the Perseids happening here, Northern Hemisphere, so we've got lots of shooting stars, quote unquote, coming up over the next few days, so that's always worth checking out. I think if they streak far enough, you might be able to get them in the Southern Hemisphere, but for the most part, that is a Northern Hemisphere deal. Yes, go us. Although I've got light pollution, so you can see like 1 an hour rather than 90. Now, Keith has joined us, and he's bringing us Live Moon. Now, this is Keith's first time on the Global Star Party. He says trying to click the little drop-down arrow there, clicking that. Okay, technology's not working with me. It won't let me unmute him. There we go. Let's try that again. Come on. Nope, technology hates me. But Keith is bringing us Live Moon, which is pretty awesome. I can't name that crater. I should be able to. It looks really familiar. Okay, yeah, technology's not wanting to let me unmute the poor man. I'm sorry, Keith. But, yeah, we've got Live Moon. We have definitely got Live Moon. And it's Copernicus. Thank you, Keith. He's just let me know. Yes, so Keith Frost has joined us, and he has got this lovely view. We have Copernicus. I like it. So Keith, if you could scroll around, and we'll just check out the moon for a little bit, because I can stare at the moon for absolutely ages. And I will continue to try and get control panel to work. Control room. Come on, control room. There we go. Ah, Keith, you should be unmuted now. You can say hello to everyone.
Hey.
Hey! Thanks for joining us.
It's morning for me here. The sun's about to rise, but I was going to get up and watch you guys anyway, so I figured I'd set up the scope.
I like the thinking. I'm really liking that thinking. So how are you getting this picture of the moon to us?
I have a 10-inch Newtonian f4.7. It started life as a Dob, but I currently have it mounted on a equatorial mount.
Nice. Really nice view there. It's good. It looks quite. I mean, obviously this is quite zoomed out. It looks pretty good seeing there as well, and you've got some nice conditions from the looks of it.
It varies. Earlier, when it was still darker, the sky between the light pollution and the dust in the air, it had kind of a orangish haze. It's in the city. It's not that great. I have to go out of town to get any dark skies.
Nice. And just whereabouts are you actually coming from to bring us this view?
I'm in North Texas. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Nice. Awesome. This is the whole Global Star Party. We're all over the planet right now doing spacey stuff.
That was the idea.
I like it. I like it a lot. That Terminator, the Terminator edge on the moon is always really awesome. Those shadows are quite impressive. I am terrible at naming craters, but it's all epic. There we go. That's the. I'm going to bring the size. Where is Thad? He shouldn't be asleep. I know it's like 4 a.m. for him, but where is he? He can name everything in space. Brilliant.
I think he's got a few more hours to sleep still.
Yeah, right.
We're 2 hours ahead of them.
Ah, oh, yeah. That's pretty early for you guys then. Wow. Wow, look at that. You see, I could stare at the moon for hours, but there's so much live going on today. Check it out. We are bringing live sun, live moon, live deep space. Talking of which, Dylan, no pressure, but I'm going to get you sharing something soon. We have actually had a request in for the Sombrero Galaxy, so, you know, just saying.
I don't think that's in my view. I'm just trying to line up on Eagle at the moment, just to see if I can do a comparison with the CCD setup.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to click on Paul quickly. Paul's bringing us lots of stars and something in the right. What are we looking at, Paul?
Yeah, there's still a chunk of the large Magellanic Cloud. Simple clusters in here, and nebulosity, and all sorts of bits and pieces.
It's nice. I'm getting the impression there's going to be quite a bit of dark nebulosity in there, like dusty bits, because you've got regions of quite dense star field and then regions of almost no stars at all. So I'm assuming there's a lot of dust in the way there.
Bound to be.
I was going to say, someone needs to get out there and give it a quick tidy up and start making some planets from it. But it's pretty awesome. So how long an exposure was this, and when did you capture it?
That was taken about a minute ago, and it's about a minute's worth of exposure.
Nice. I mean, you know, so yes, I'm going to click back onto the Q&A app now. I've got control panel working. Let's have a look what we've got in here then. We've just got Angel says, welcome Keith, awesome moon. I have to agree, that is some awesome moon.
Really, really nice and detailed. Thanks for that, Keith.
I'm going to say that is some. I mean, look at that bay there. Is that where the Chinese rover landed, somewhere in that direction? That looks familiar.
Yes, it is. Let's see. It's Bay of Rainbows, I believe, flows into the Sea of Dreams, something like that.
So pretty. Those names, whoever named it was really, really high at the time. You know? Look at that. Nice. And to compare and contrast, of course, we have something that's illuminating that bit of the moon right now. And look at that eruption. Look at that crap. Nice one.
Absolutely gigantic.
It's tiny. So, you know, it's only, what, an inch on my screen? Come on, it's tiny. So Grant, give us a sense of scale, and how are you bringing this to us?
Well, what we've got here is I've got my Coronado connected up to an X-Image 5 camera. I've really overexposed the centre disk to bring out the prominences and the flares there, yeah? The sun's surface temperature is 5,500 degrees Celsius, and that's a lot of magnetic fields at work there. You get into the core, and you're looking at 15 million degrees Celsius.
Oh.
And these eruptions can take millions of years to come from the core of the sun actually to the surface. And the sun actually converts 650 million tons of hydrogen into helium every second. Quite an interesting object.
Yeah, that sounds like an awful lot, but luckily we've still got plenty of life left in the sun, so don't worry, folks. Even burning at that rate, it's not going to run out of fuel for a long time.
But another 3.5 billion years to go, Chris.
Yeah, it's fine. And even when the sun does decide to blow up and inflate, it'll just make Mars a bit warmer for us so we can move home. It's not a problem. It's an epic view, Grant. I like it. I like that a lot. And Andrew, of course, has brought us live meteorites. Well, his colleague there, we'll say, has brought us live meteorites, and he's now bringing us a live cluster. Well, he was. Now he's switched over. He's just playing with me now.
Sorry about that. It's moving around a little bit.
Just a little bit there.
Hang on, I'll get it back up again. There we go. And there we are.
Nice. So, what are we looking at here?
Okay, that's Omega Centauri in Centaurus. A little bit of trailing on that image, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's doing that one.
Say that's so many stars in such a tiny space. Well, I say tiny. That's still probably a couple of light years across there. It's fantastic. How long an exposure was that on it?
That was only 60 seconds.
That's pretty. I mean, that's a really bright object then. That's for 60 seconds. I mean, was that ISO 1600 as well?
Yes, it's a bright object. It's definitely naked eye.
I mean, for those of you who aren't familiar with ISOs and have gone down the either gone down the dark route of CCD imaging or don't particularly use cameras that much, the higher the ISO number, the higher the sensitivity or forced sensitivity of the chip. I suppose it's you're going to gain on a webcam, I suppose is a good way of describing it. The higher the ISO, the noisier the image gets, but the quicker you can get that data.
It's a carryover term from the film days, where the paper was actually, or the film was actually sensitive and had a sensitivity rating to light. But these days, a chip doesn't change its sensitivity. It really is just a software just going, stretch the hell out of this to a certain level, and that pulls out all the noise. And I was actually quite surprised to find that ISO is a bit of a, it actually doesn't exist. It's just the camera stretching it for you. So you could theoretically shoot everything in ISO 100 and then do all your stretching later if you wanted to, and you'd get exactly the same result.
That is interesting. Although I've now gone down the dark route to CCD, so haha, no more ISO. Yay! I'm just going to click back on Grant's view there. Look at that. And I'm also going to link into a question on Q&A. Niles has asked if the sun... sorry, I'm trying to read that then. If the sun has burnt out all of its energy, what will happen to it? Will it create a supernova? Unfortunately, well, fortunately, I suppose, no supernova from our sun. It doesn't have the mass. Our sun would have to be a heck of a lot more massive in order to create a supernova. Our star, I think, someone can correct me on this, but I'm going to go for it. Our sun will pop up into a very large red star. I don't know if it could be. Would it be a red giant? But it's going to pop up a lot, and then eventually it will shed its outer shell and collapse back into a white dwarf. There will be no supernova per se. We might make a nice planetary nebula, but Grant, you might know a little bit more on this one than me.
It will probably actually end up looking like what the Ring Nebula looks like now, Chris. All stars, when their hydrogen actually is burned out, they actually start burning helium. That makes them a lot hotter, but you're right, it depends on the size of the star itself. So our sun will probably just go, boom, nova, but not supernova.
So no vaporizing planets in, well, actually Mercury and Venus are going to bite the dust quite bad, and I think we're going to get quite heavily scorched. But if you're on Mars or on a moon of Jupiter, it should make quite a pretty view, if not really, really bright. I think the sun's luminosity during its death phase will increase tenfold, if not more. So it'll be very impressive, but we're safe. We're not going to be around to see it. Thanks for that question. That's a nice one.
I think when the sun does expand, there's a model that's being prepared at the moment saying that human beings could probably move to Titan, one of Saturn's moons, and be safe from the explosion for a few thousand years. So let's move to Titan, everybody.
Yeah, it's. I wouldn't recommend it now, though. It rains methane, to the best of my knowledge, and that's just really cold. And now, Paul is also bringing us a really pretty view of a globular cluster.
This is the other great southern cluster, the 47 Tucanae.
Nice. And that's also a really good constellation name, Tucanae, just saying. That is lovely. And is this a naked eye object, or is this kind of a darker one?
No, it's naked eye.
Yeah.
Nice. And what kind of exposure length did you have to do to get this?
It's only about a minute.
Yeah, when you're talking astrophotography and it's a minute-long exposure, you know you've got a really bright object on your hands. Nice. It's a lovely view. And actually, I've got a question here on the Q&A. Q&A is buzzing tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. On a world similar to Earth orbiting a star in the middle of a star cluster, how bright would the nice night sky be? Well, none of us have visited, but I'm going to go and throw it out there. Pretty bright?
Well, what would happen is if you were living on a world that was orbiting one of the stars in Messier 13, globular cluster that we can see here, the only telescope you'd be able to buy would be hydrogen alpha or calcium K, because it would never get dark. Constant daylight.
I really want to visit a planet somewhere in the center of a globular cluster then, because so many suns to pick from, and I could actually get something Paul couldn't get because he wouldn't have an all-sky telescope doing it. Sorry, I'm just ever so slightly bitter when Paul manages to get really nice unclouded views of the sun and I miss out on all the action. And Grant's even getting nice views and I've just got wretched clouds. But when there are clouds about, there's always other people's pictures that have been taken at an earlier date. And talking of which, I am going to share out some pictures on the Flickr group because there have been some awesome submissions recently. So I'm going to click on, well, I don't know where to start. So many. I'm going to talking of Paul and his blooming pictures of the sun. I'm going to start with that one. So let's start screen sharing our Flickr group. Now, the Global Star Party has a Flickr group, and you can first of all you can check it out. Just type on Global Star Party on Flickr, you'll find us, and we have got pictures from all the guys that are on this show, including myself whenever I get an image, which is rare because of clouds, and also loads of submissions from everyone that kind of watches the show and follows us as well. And if you put your pictures on, if you don't just check them out, but if you put yours on as well, we will share them out on the show, which is what I'm just about to do when technology wants to play ball with me. So start screen share. So, of course, you should be able to see this, but the sun is really active at the moment, and Paul, because he sacrifices goats on a regular basis, managed to nice epic views. Check that out. When was this taken, Paul?
This is this afternoon sun.
I mean, you've got prominences galore, which, and I mean, that one at the top there was the one that Grant was showing us live. As you can see, beautiful arcing structures created by the magnetic fields. You've got loads of filaments. My favourite ones are the ones on the left-hand side here, really bright, again making beautiful arches. And there's a nice swirly one at the top right there. But the sun has been really quiet recently, and now it's decided that it's going to go, hey, check it out, guys, look what I can do, and look at that. But so yeah, and there's a lovely lifting prom as well. You can just see it on the right-hand side of the image there. That is really nice. So Paul, check him out. He puts pictures of the sun up like that. Now, Mike Raggett, sorry, I'm going to apologise now. Actually, my pronunciation skills when it comes to people's names is terrible. Has got the lagoon and the Triffid in Widefield, and I love the Triffid. And look at that. Isn't that pretty, folks? It's a lovely image. Thank you for sharing that one, Mike. So many stars, and you can just see the blue reflection side of the nebula in the Triffid there as well. Because the Triffid is a weird one.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is a really nice picture. Nice work there. And Widefield. I'm beginning to soften. I know I mock Dylan on a regular basis for his hyperstar obsession, but I think it's secretly because I want a hyperstar myself. I have to admit. And oh look, here's Paul again. Sorry, I'm skipping that one. You're already showing off too much, Paul. Ooh, now that is something you don't actually get to see often. So Christo has photographed the star Vega, which is one of my favourite stars to align on because, well, you can see it. It's incredibly bright. This is in the constellation of Lyra. And it makes the top brightest star in that constellation, and it's home to a couple of nice things, including the planetary nebula M57, which I've been photographing recently. And someone's got a spooky ghost thing going on in the background there. But look at that. That is really nice. So Vega, most people don't seem to photograph bright stars like that, so that's quite nice to see. Thank you for that one. It was 10 30-second subs at ISO 3200. So nice shot. So yeah. Oh, look at that. You see, this guy again. He's bringing one of my favourite nebulas, Messier 20, the Triffid Nebula. Nice. some beautiful dark dust lanes in this one. This is both an emission and a reflection nebula. The emission side is the red side, which shows up beautifully in hydrogen alpha light, which is being, and then you've got this reflection nebula as well, illuminated in a somewhat different style from a star somewhere in the middle of that lot. Really nice. So nice, in fact, that that dog is just going, yes, look at that. And oh, let's see, look at this. So if you want to check these out, ladies and gentlemen, feel free. That is epic. It's got some nice dark dustiness in a massive star field there. Globular cluster. Whoever's dog that is, can they mute their microphone, pretty please?
It's probably one of my neighbors. Actually, there's another dog that's closer. He's louder, trust me.
Brilliant. Well, hey, look at this. We've got live meteorites, live deep sky, live moon, live sun, and also a bit of nature too. Yeah, we'll go with it. The Andromeda. So look at this. The Flickr group. It's some really nice pictures. This guy has been on a roll with pictures. And of course, we've got the moon. Oh, and Dylan. I knew I was going to be able to segue at some point. Here we go. So, Dylan, tell us about this picture and what the heck happened for you to get this picture.
So this is from my trip on the mission to the European Space Agency to take photos of their dish, which was great. The night before, I actually got to spend some time in the desert before the full moon came up, and oh my God, the desert was cold and crisp and clear, and this is only 2 hours north of Perth, which is a capital city. So if you live in Perth, you should get down to or get up to this national park. You can drive in, and there's no gates. There's an entry fee which you should pay during the day, and they're very welcoming. And you can go, and there's a 4-kilometre loop all the way through these beautiful desert structures. You can park anywhere and get out of your car, set up the tripod, and just take a 30-second picture and get something like this in 30 seconds with a wide enough lens. Here you can see the Large Magellanic Cloud, which was what Paul was showing us details of just earlier, live on the show. That's where the Tarantula Nebula is. That is a galaxy, and it is a naked eye galaxy for us southern hemisphere folk. It does look disrupted, and they call it a irregular galaxy, but it is, you can sort of see traces of that bar, spiral bar galaxy. And the Small Magellanic Cloud is another regular galaxy. Then you've got the Coalsack Nebula up the top. It's just a beautiful place to shoot. You are looking. You can sit on a rocky bluff and look out over the sunset going down over the ocean while you sit in the desert, and then the Milky Way comes up like this. It's just spectacular. I shot loads and loads and loads of photos. And I'm not spamming everyone with them yet, but I will be for months.
Well, with pictures like that, first of all, I'm bitterly jealous, and second of all, please do spam away because that's beautiful.
Thanks.
That is really, really nice.
Hey Dylan, what's making the desert so bright?
The 30-second long exposure, really. But the glow on the left-hand side is the glow of Perth City. And the Milky Way obviously is the bright section in the top there, and there's just some of that normal sky glow that you get on the edges as we look through the atmosphere down on the horizon. But it really is the long exposure, 30-second exposure, and I've done several of these exposures, and I've stacked them together, which allows me to stretch the essentially the nebulosity or the luminance of the image. I treat these Milky Ways the same way I treat the deep space images that I do. So whereas some people will just take a shot and that's it, I actually stack them and stretch them the same way you would a nebula.
Well, that is beautiful, and reminds me why I need to find an Australian woman to marry and move to the southern hemisphere. Yeah, cheers.
I think Dylan's
moving quickly along, folks. First of all, Thank you, Dylan, and thank you to everyone that's been putting up their pictures on the page. As you can see, there is some really nice stuff on here. In fact, I'm just going to click on that one quickly. James Parker has got the International Space Station taken using an iPhone. You see, you don't even need to have fancy technology. You can just put a phone at the sky. Look at that.
That's great.
Nice. And that is taken over in Norfolk. So nice. Look at that. Actually, the International Space Station did pass over my head a couple of nights ago, and it was one of those moments where I was just aligning on a star. I was like, darn it, I can't get to it quick enough. But it's always nice to see the ISS going overhead. But yeah, so check out the Global Star Party on Flickr. Some beautiful submissions, and we do show them off on the show, and we also show them off on Twitter as well. So yeah, I love those photos. I will spend some time later on staring at those. Now, there's my ugly mug back again. Sorry about that, folks. I am going to click on Dylan because Dylan has something.
So this is not the Eagle. I had some trouble with my guide star and with my aligning software, but this is the wild duck cluster, which I know absolutely nothing about, and I haven't seen it until a few minutes ago. So there you go.
It's always nice when that happens. Well, whilst we're looking at the wild duck cluster, anyone can spot the duck, please let me know in Q&A.
Yeah, that one's a bit abstract.
Talking of clusters, Sander is asking if these cluster images are live or if they're recorded. These are live. They're as live as the exposure takes, so normally within 60 seconds of the light getting to the telescope, we show them on the internet. So, yeah, these are as live as you can get. In fact, tonight has all been about the live views, which is nice for once because actually the clouds, ironically enough, are beginning to part here a little bit, so that's always typical. Paul has also got not live, but live earlier. He's got that beautiful eruption in detail. Nice, Paul. So, Paul, will you go into a little bit of just how you managed to put this image together, just in the kind of loosest of terms, how you managed to get this lovely process picture? Oh, hang on, there's a bit of an issue here because Paul's muted, so even if he wanted to talk, he can't. There we go. I have unmuted you, Paul.
How's that?
There we go.
This is a stack of 150 images I took this afternoon, processed and then sharpened in Photoshop and a bit of colour added.
Nice, really, really nice. I'm loving that. And then, of course, I can look at your picture and flip back to Grant because, oh, look at that, and there it is live.
Again, that's good.
That's always awesome. So I'm just going to click back and forth between Paul and Grant here. So there it is live right now as it is. And then Paul's nicely sharpened up a little while ago. That is pretty epic. And then I'm going to jump to something completely different. We have, oh, we did have. Oh no, it's gone. There was a picture of a meteorite then. No, come back, meteorite.
Still there.
I'm just getting your pretty telescope, unfortunately. Darn it. Oh, well, I'm going to click on keep.
Yeah, we can see the meteor right here, Chris.
All right, okay, it's come back. Okay. Oh, there we go. Hey, look at that. And for scale, you've got a little 1 centimetre cube there. I like it.
That's 199.15 grams. That particular meteorite. That's the one I was holding up earlier.
Nice. Beautiful. I love that
superb.
Reddish tint to it as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of rust, a bit of iron oxide that's leaching through. Meteorites have a habit of rusting from the inside out.
Oh.
They don't last long when they're on the Earth.
That's an interesting thing. I would have thought the reverse. Oh. You learn something new every day.
They sort of absorb the water, yeah, like a sponge.
Ah. That is
if I could do a
beautiful.
shout out, I'd like to say hello to Richard Garcia in California, if he's watching.
Hello, Richard. Hey.
He's a big time astronomer.
Nice. I need to start collecting rocks now as well as astronomy gear. Oh no! It's a good job. It's actually, this whole moving to Australia thing may have to wait until I've, got a shipping container full of rocks and telescope gear to bring with me. And of course, Keith is bringing us live moon, and you can tell it's live simply because it wobbles around because of the atmosphere. I'm going to unmute Keith, and hopefully his neighbour's dog has. There we go. Hey up, Keith.
Still here.
Awesome, and you're bringing us a beautiful, beautiful crater made by something a little bit bigger than that meteorite we were just looking at. But check that out. Which crater are we looking at right now?
I've kind of been going around in circles. I'm back to Copernicus, but I've got a Barlow on my scope to get in a little closer.
I mean, and it's that lovely, those mountains in the middle there, casting lovely shadows. It's a beautiful view.
You mentioned the naming before. The guy who named most of the stuff was actually a monk, and you'll find that Copernicus is sitting in one of the badly named regions, like Sea of Despair or something horrible like that, because the monks weren't too keen on the idea that that we had a heliocentric solar system. Yeah, but the funny thing is, he gave Copernicus, the name Copernicus, to this massive, beautiful object. So the idea is that even though he put all the cool Catholics into the cool places, he gave the biggest accolade to Copernicus, who was shunned at the time. So it could have been a way of him saying, you know what, I don't think things rotate around the Earth.
Ah, yes, the old... there was a little bit of a battle once upon a time, wasn't there? We won't go into too much detail about that one, but yes, science won in the end. Not after a few people got burnt, sentenced to prison and banned from various things, but yeah, it turns out, folks, that we really do go around the sun, and I like the fact that they try to bung people in, badly named areas of the moon. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research on that one. I like that. Those poor angry monks. They were naming these beautiful things, and they were doing it with a slight sarcasm in their voice at the time.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through the Q&A as well. Can the broadcasters show us? That's a northern constellation at the moment, so I don't think we can. It was going to be NGC 884 in Perseus, but Perseus is currently... I don't know, actually. No, Perseids are happening in the northern hemisphere at the moment, so Perseus is a northern hemisphere constellation. So unfortunately, we can't check that one out. Sorry, Sander, but we can't check out Perseus at the moment. But if it's clear next Saturday, I might be able to bring you something from Perseus. I will give it a go, but I probably just jinx it because I've just purchased some filters for my camera. So this is probably why everyone down south right now is enjoying nice clear skies, because yeah, I bought stuff and summoned clouds this way. Although having said that, though, Grant has still got that beautiful view of those prominences there. Ah, so nice.
Yeah, it's looking quite good, Chris, actually. Talking about the Perseids, it peaks here on the 12th and 13th. I'll open up my observatory hangout and I'll put my all-sky cam on all through the night. See if we can catch some of the meteor show.
Awesome. And oh, look at that one. A crater within another crater. I'm just going to stare slightly slack-jawed at this screen for a second.
Yeah, that looks like Clavius there.
That is
On the
Clavius.
left is Psycho, and on the right is Clavis.
Nice. That is pretty epic. Matt Woods has mentioned that our sun would have to be more than 8 times its size to become a supernova. So, yeah, and that's a lot of sun. I mean, I know 8 times doesn't sound much, but that is a lot of extra hydrogen there. Our solar system would have had to kind of know Jupiter many times over. Many times over. Look at that. Now then, Paul. Ah, Paul. Nice. Now then, Paul, tell us what we're looking at and how live is this one?
This is M8, the Lagoon Nebula. And it is about a minute old.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely spectacular. Lovely. I love the hues of red. I mean, most nebulae you kind of look at are kind of blues, reds, and kind of purplish, kind of in between shades. Although someone was telling me there are a couple of planetary nebula that look quite green. I have yet to see a green nebula, but I want to find one if I can. That is really nice. So I'm assuming, Dylan, you've either got clouds or you're hiding your live views because technical problems.
Actually, I haven't imaged for a while because of this home reno I'm doing, but I've gone back to Mega Nebula so I can get more data on that. I've got the chance.
I don't blame you. It's one of those things, balancing imaging and data gathering as well as showing it off live to the world. Angel has mentioned that, Dylan, your beautiful photo on Flickr is majestic. It really is. I'm looking forward to seeing the spam from you later with those ones.
Thanks.
You know, if there's any kind of spam that I want to see, it's of stuff in space. So please post on the Flickr group. I love checking out your photos. I love sharing them out on the Global Star Party. And heck, I love sharing out the live views. But it's been so much fun sharing out the live that it is almost time for me to wrap up the show. Where on earth did that go?
I know it's been another great show with a lot of live feeds, which is really nice when that happens, and a lot of familiar faces again. And thank you for all the astronomy that you guys bring us, and the newcomer Keith as well today. Thank you, Keith.
Glad to be here.
Great.
That was awesome. Thank you for joining us. And again, with views like that, please join us again. I'm always up for looking at the moon, and you know. And despite neighborhood dogs, and it's yeah, awesome.
I'm envious of the guys who can get the dark skies and have internet at the same time. I can never get both.
Yeah, there's unless they start making several kilometer-long cables, that's always a trick.
Indeed.
And thank you as well, Chris, for hosting as well. You're always a wonderful talent on this show.
I'm waiting for some. I've seen that dodgy screenshot you shared out on Instagram, so sometimes I do wonder. It's always good to do this. You know, it's great fun to share out the live views, and you know, thank you. And this is the other thing. I think Keith is a great example here that we are always looking for anyone that can share out their live view. If you've got, you know, an SLR, a webcam, a fancy CCD imager, and you can link it up to your internet at the same time. You know, come join us. We're always willing to join you in private sessions to help you work out any bugs and issues and technical problems that you might have. And yeah, we'll bring in the live, and it's always good to do. And also, the more people that can bring in the live, the less chance the clouds have of joining the party for everyone. So it's kind of cloud combating by just getting as many people as possible that can stream live views. Now next week is the what I like to call the Western nighttime edition. So if you're in the Americas, it will be nighttime for you guys. And it will also be nighttime here for me as well. And hopefully, you never know, I might get a clear skies and can share maybe some M27, M57 live, because I'm actually getting slightly better at my alignment. And I might actually have a cool picture to show off next week. Fingers crossed if I can get that Oxygen 3 data. So, thank you for joining us, everyone, to the Global Star Party. As I say, this is a weekly thing. You can follow us on Twitter, @Global Star Party. You can follow me and my ramblings personally at @CKMU. You can find us on Google Plus, Global Star Party. We tweet out events.
And we'll put everyone's links in the description as well.
Yeah,
we always do.
Yeah. Everyone that was showing their live views tonight, or their not so live views, we will put their links in the YouTube. Of course, Dylan, my co-host, thank you for returning from the desert and joining us.
It's a pleasure as always.
It's good to see you. And the hair is coming back slowly but surely. if you actually flick through the shows now, you can watch the progress of Dylan's hair.
I'll just say one thing here, Chris. You did manage to see the seahorse in the Cat's Paw Nebula finally, yeah? I did a superimpose on that.
I did check it out, and yes, with a bit of squinting and some fervent imagination, I could definitely see a seahorse in there. In fact, I am willing for people to name just whatever. Oh, Paul. Sorry, I've just realised what Paul's sharing.
Live Trishid. Just for you.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to stare at this for a little bit now. Oh, Paul. You tease, you. Yeah, I need to move to Australia. I really do. I love that nebula. That's a nice view, Paul. Thanks for that.
I have to drive 2.5 hours to see something like that.
I have to demolish my neighbour's house to see something like that. All for the cause, I suppose. That's fantastic. Nice one. So I shall just let everyone say goodbye to our audience. So first of all, I'm going to start with Andrew. Thank you for joining us, man. And thank you to Live Meteorites, too. That is awesome. Okay, I think we have some mutage issues here. I'm going to go and click on things and see what happens. No, you're not meant to be muted, so I don't know what's going on there, man. But I saw waving, and now you've disappeared. So, Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Unmute the microphone might help.
Well, cheers for joining us and bringing us some epic live, and thank you as well for the meteorites. That was awesome.
Thank you. It was a
That
pleasure.
was, hey, you know, thank you for joining us and bringing us that. I love meteorites. I now want to start collecting. So, actually, if you're willing to give us a couple of links to like some places to find some more information about how to get them, where to get them, what to look out for, that'd be something really, really cool, and we could probably talk about a little bit on the next show as well.
Well, certainly, no worries.
Awesome. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
We also have had Grant, who stole the clear skies from me today. I don't think Grant can hear me, but that's Grant. Thank you, Grant.
Yeah, sorry about that, Chris. I can hear you. There's a bit of a delay here at the moment. I think there's something up with my connection. It's a great show, Dylan and Chris. Thanks very much for spending the time to bring it so that we can do this here, guys. It's appreciated.
Awesome, and thank you, Keith, for bringing us Live Moon.
Again, glad to make it finally.
Awesome. Cheers for joining us. Please feel free to join us again. It's good to chat and epic views. Nice.
Thank you.
And definitely getting sunrisey there because the sky's getting just that little bit bluer.
Yeah, it's daylight.
Nice. Well, that's some determination. What time is it there for you?
What time is it? It is 7:04.
Wow. Well, that's some dedication. Thanks for joining us.
Not to worry.
Thank you. And, of course, Trevor, who didn't have any live, but was just quietly in the background, keeping an eye on us all so we don't misbehave. Thanks for joining us, man.
Nothing live, but hopefully soon. But yeah, no, it's been a good one.
I shall touch wood and fingers crossed. And, yeah, I'll try not to buy any astronomy gear if that helps. Right then, I shall wrap up the show then. So thank you everyone for watching us live. Of course, you can watch the replays back on YouTube if you want to, check out any specific moments. And please let the world know. Share us out, and we can hopefully get more and more people joining us. And we do this because we love sharing space. It's beautiful stuff we get to see out there, and obviously not everyone can see it, so it's great to share it out live. And thank you for everyone that's joined us in Q&A tonight as well. Some great commentary and questions coming in, and thank you for joining us. It's great to have you a part of the show as well. Right then, well, good night from everyone that's in nighttime, and good afternoon from everyone that's in the UK, and good morning from everyone that's in America. Yes, got the time zones wrapped up in a short sentence. Right then, thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.